They both had thick manes of curly red hair and wide smiles. Billy's smile made her grin. He looked so cute without his front teeth. He was an adorable kid and had always been easy. He wanted to make everyone happy. He was sweet to her, and he loved pleasing his dad, and he knew the way to do that was to talk to Larry about sports. He remembered everything his father told him about every game. He was 5, and for the past year he had said he wanted to play football for the 49ers one day. "That's my boy," Larry Norton always said proudly. He was obsessed with sports, football, baseball, and basketball. He played golf with his clients and tennis on the weekends. He worked out religiously every morning, and he encouraged his wife to do the same. She had a great body when she wasn't pregnant, and she'd played tennis with him until she got too big to run fast enough to hit the ball. Marilyn was 30 years old and had met Larry when they both worked for the same insurance company 8 years before when she got out of college. He was 8 years older and a great-looking guy. He had noticed her immediately and teased her about her coppery red hair. Every woman in the place thought he was gorgeous and wanted to go out with him. Marilyn was the lucky winner, and they were married when she was 24. She got pregnant with Billy very quickly and had waited 5 years for their second baby. Larry was thrilled it was another boy, and they were going to name him Brian. Larry had had a brief career in baseball, in the minor leagues. He had a legendary pitching arm, which everyone felt certain would get him to the major leagues. But a shattered elbow in a skiing accident had ended his future in baseball, and he had gone to work in insurance. He had been bitter about it at first, and had a tendency to drink too much, and flirt with women when he did. He always insisted it was just social drinking. He was the life of every party, and after Marilyn married him, he left the insurance company and went out on his own. He was a natural salesman and had established a very successful insurance brokerage business which afforded them a very comfortable lifestyle and plenty of luxuries. They had bought a very handsome house in Pacific Heights, and Marilyn had never worked again. And Larry's favorite clients were the professional major league athletes who trusted him and were his mainstay now. At 38, he had a good reputation and a very solid business. He was still disappointed he wasn't a pro ball player himself, but he readily admitted that he had a great life, a hot wife, and a son who would play ball professionally one day if he had anything to do with it. Although his life had turned out differently than he planned, Larry Norton was a happy man. He hadn't come to Billy's first day of school because he was having breakfast with one of the 49ers that morning to sell him more insurance. In cases like that, his clients always came first, particularly if they were stars. But very few of the other kids' fathers had come to school, and Billy didn't mind. His father had promised him an autographed football and some football cards from the player he was having breakfast with. Billy was thrilled and content to go to school with just his mom. The teacher at the door where the kindergarten filed in looked down at Billy with a warm smile, and he gave her a shy glance, still holding onto his mother's hand. The teacher was pretty and young with long blonde hair. She looked like she was fresh out of college. Her name tag said that she was an assistant teacher, and her name was Miss Pam. Billy was wearing a name tag too, and once in the building, Marilyn took him to his classroom where a dozen children were already playing, and their teacher greeted him immediately and asked him if he'd like to leave his football in his cubby so his hands would be free to play. Her name was Miss June, and she was about Marilyn's age. Billy hesitated at the question and then shook his head. He was afraid someone would steal his football. Marilyn reassured him and encouraged him to do what the teacher said. She helped him find his cubby in the row of open cubby holes where other children had already left their possessions and some sweaters. And when they went back into the classroom, Miss June suggested that he might like to play with the building blocks until the rest of his classmates arrived. He thought about it and looked at his mother, who gently nudged him to go. "You like playing with building blocks at home," she reminded him. "I'm not going anywhere. Why don't you go play? I'll be right here." She pointed to a tiny chair and with considerable difficulty lowered herself into it, thinking that it would take a crane to get her out of it again. And with that, Miss June walked Billy to the building blocks, and he got busy making a fort of some kind with the largest ones. He was a big boy, both tall and strong, which pleased his father. Larry could easily imagine him as a